Welcome to the wonderful world of marketing. As usual, I'm Grad Kahn, your host for today. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about Outlook. And there's a feature in Outlook that almost nobody knows about and almost nobody uses. I can't imagine what my life would be like without it. I get quite a few emails every day, roughly around 500 or more. Virtually impossible to stay on top of that many emails. So I've got a tool I use called search folders, built right into Outlook, and they're not really well understood. So a search folder is effectively a persistent search that groups things into a folder for viewing. And so what a lot of people do is they go into their mail and they'll create new folders. So I could create a folder for my inbox and I'll call it, hair appointments. And then what people do is they get into this kind of funny zone where they'll drag stuff into these folders, right? And I have found that is the path to madness, total insanity, because you have two problems that happen when you do that. The first problem that happens is that you are constantly moving things into folders. The second thing that happens is it's almost impossible to find anything anymore. And so I have a very different approach, which is I have all of my mail in my inbox in one giant pile. Expires out on a retention policy basis. So you set up your retention policy in your Outlook rules, and that's it. That's the last time I manage or worry about my mailbox. If I go into my inbox, I can do a search, and so I have a bunch of Alto furniture, some of it which needs to be repaired. So I can do a search on Alto here, and it'll bring up alto.com, and I can see the current holiday sales on Alto vases. And so I can find anything I want in my inbox. But people are like, well, that's not great because I want to actually be able to organize things by topic or subject or the project that I'm working on, or specifically the people that are sending messages to me, so everyone has their own folder. And I get that, but as soon as you start dragging things into different folders, you've made some decisions. So people usually have folders that are both project-based, subject-based, and people-based. And at any one time, a mail can appropriately be put into all three of those folders, but only can go into one. So depending on the kind of mood you're in, you'll drag things into different kinds of folders, and of course they're very hard to find again. So search folders solve that problem. I leave my mail in one giant pile, and then I slice it up with search folders. So the way search folders work is you can create a new search folder, and when I create a new search folder, what I do is I have the ability to look at different kinds of mail in different kinds of slices. I typically look at it from specific people. And so then what I'll do is you click choose, and then I can go in and I can choose all sorts of different type of people, or I can type an address right in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually type in my wife's name and just click OK. And this creates a new search folder in my overall search folders for my wife, and then it'll start to populate it. So it'll kind of take a second. Most of these messages are when are you home? But this is all the messages from my wife. And the messages that are in this folder are also still in the inbox. So we'll take a look at this message here. So I'm going to Epcot. So I am doing Epcot Dive Quest. So that was the mail from my wife. And so you see it's in her folder, in my search folders here. I'll go down to S. In the Susie folder, all my wife's messages. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm just going to delete that folder. Everyone's like, no, don't do that. Oh, it's gone. Okay, it's gone, but those messages are still in my inbox. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to put the word Dive Quest, and you'll see very quickly, boom, there's the email from my wife. One question I get is people go, oh, that's great, so that's from people, and that is pretty important. But maybe I've got like a project I'm working on right now, and I want to just keep tabs on it. Search folders are even better for stuff like that, because a lot of that project stuff's really temporary. It doesn't last for very long. So there's a couple of different ways of managing that. Create a new search folder, but then the very bottom, there's this category called Organizing Mail. And so you can actually do old mail, mail with attachments, specific words. So now I can actually say, I want to put some specific words in here. So my wife's musical is called Chick Flick. And now basically any piece of mail containing the words chick flick will now get loaded into this folder. Typically a project has a project name. It's based on a place or a location or a type of technology. So you can just stick that in there and you'll be able to see everything that's got that word in it. The email is all in one giant pile. The search folders micro slice it, and you can set up the search folders to search on all sorts of different terms. We've already done it from specific people. I've demonstrated it with my wife. I can also have a search folder of mail sent directly to me. So I get CC'd on a lot of stuff, but maybe I just want to see the mail that's just coming to me. Boom. It creates a search folder called Sent Directly to Me. Would generally sort of imply a level of importance and that people would want to reply to that. So let me talk a little bit about how I've organized it. So this is my actual search folder listing here. Some things as I go through it, you'll see a little blurring. That's Randy just protecting me from being terminated for revealing confidential information. Thank you, Randy. And so if you just do the search folders by name, you have a single list of all the alphabetical names. And that's okay, but that may not be the way you want to group it. It's certainly not the way I like to group it. So what I like to do is I actually like to group it by group, or by company, or by group, or by team. And so in this case, New York Presbyterian Hospital is a group that I've spent a lot of years with, and I have a whole bunch of New York Presbyterian Hospital names in a row. And so what that does is it allows me, as I scan through my search folders, I can just stop an NYPH and say, oh, look at that. I got a message from someone, and then I can respond to it. And what I've done is, in order to make them actually sorted correctly, you can go in and you can actually rename these. So I can actually go in and I put A's and 1s in front of people whose mail I want to see right away. I sort by letter into other groups that I want to have cohesive and together. And then I put a Z personal in front of everyone who's my friend, who I want to be able to see their messages coming in, as it drops all my personal stuff to the bottom of the list, so they're not getting in the way of any business mail. So that's search folders, and that's how I keep my life under control. What it allows me to do is it allows me to clear the people that are important. And if I can clear all that mail and make sure I've gotten through that in a day, then everything that's left is potentially important, but not quite as critical. So, search folders, try them out, and they are easy, free, and fun to use. Experiment with them and see if they can't help you bring your life under control. And that'll be all for today. Thank you for joining us on the wonderful world of marketing, and I'm Brad Kahn, your host.